Lae landowner evicts settlers to build affordable homes. Election petition case against NCD governor to go to trial. And outgoing director of National Research Institute speaks on PNG's pressing issues.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Friday's news. John Nandang, the traditional landowner of Lae's Limki settlement, has evicted settlers off his land in order to build affordable homes for Papua New Guineans living and working in Lae City. It comes as the demand for affordable homes increases and mounting pressure builds on the Ahi, which are Lae's traditional landowners, to utilize their land for development. Nandang explains that he has a title for his land and he's going to use it to build more homes for middle-income earning families.
Over 20 homes were torched and demolished to the ground yesterday and today along the Lae Speedway after settlers failed to respond to an eviction notice. The land they had built homes on is registered land belonging to traditional landowner John Nandang, who has plans to develop the land.
I believe my land would be the classic example for the Ahi people to see that housing estate will come in and will build affordable house for all people to live in. Thank you.
John Nandang has made the move to develop land that he owns into real estate properties, affordable homes for middle-income earners. He explains that land belonging to the Ahi, Lae's traditional landowners, has become scarce and he hopes that other landowners will use his example to do the same. He proposes to build affordable homes with commercial loans, joint ventures with other developers, or a deal with the National Housing Corporation, but his land will solely belong to him. John's move comes amidst the growing high cost of living in Lae City and other towns and cities around the country, forcing middle-income earning Papua New Guineans into settlements where there are continuous law and order problems, including ethnic clashes.
So this lie doesn't mean that eviction notice, Namibla, Rosim, or some pig dog. No, this is not. It's a law and order situation here in Limki.
The Limki settlement area was featured last year for ethnic clashes where families were displaced and over 30 homes were burnt to the ground. John Nandang isn't the only Ahi landowner changing his views on land. On the 10th of February this year, Yanam Omba, another Ahi landowner from Kamkumu, called on the government to empower landowners to develop their own land by making bank loans available and titles easier to get. Lae's housing rental is the second most expensive right after Port Moresby. The experts in the industry say it's because of supply and demand and land shortages. But traditional landowners with land say if they are given the opportunity to develop their land, homes will be made affordable and more Papua New Guinean wealth will be created in society. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of petitioner Michael Kandiu's case for a full trial against NCD Governor Powis Parkett. The ruling on the competency case was handed down by Justice Catherine Davani, Justice Eric Kariko and Justice Peter Tolikin today. This means Mr. Kandiu can proceed with the full trial of his election petition filed against NCD Governor Powis Parkett on grounds of bribery and illegal practices.
Outside the courthouse this afternoon, Mr. Kandiu and his counsel, Philemon Korowi, explained the outcome of the three-man bench Supreme Court's decision. The three-man Supreme Court bench, with one judge dissenting, handed down the decision in favor of the application for review and the case to proceed for trial, meaning that all 36 grounds granted leave in the first place will now be determined by the Supreme Court bench.
The next process now is for us to get the hearing date before go before the registry, get the hearing date, and get the substantive judicial review matter ahead.
We had the first court case decision handed down today in favor of us, so our review for trial will go ahead.
Following the 2012 election victory of NCD Governor Powis Parkett, Applicant petitioner and businessman Michael Kandiu filed an election petition on 37 grounds, which had one issue knocked out by the Supreme Court.
Grounds under influence, bribery, illegal practice, and error on omissions.
Court in favor of Mr. Kandiu, the election review may proceed to full trial. In December of last year, the Supreme Court didn't hear the actual substantive matter relating to the review submission filed by Mr. Kandiu in the first place, but instead heard the competency application filed by Governor Pakop. The matter was adjourned to this month, and the decision was handed down this afternoon for the full trial to proceed. The full trial for the review will be set in the month of April. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
One of the best ways to achieve stronger communities, societies and economies is to empower women and girls. This from Australian Deputy High Commissioner Margaret Adamson in her keynote address this morning. She addressed hundreds of women professionals who gathered for the 6th Annual International Women's Day breakfast. The day will be celebrated on Sunday, 8th of March.
Ms. Adams said gender equality and combating violence are not just matters of aid and support, but are actually highly political and existential issues in the global society today.
Just as BPW is also investing in the education of girls. Over the next 5 years, we will invest $55 million Australian dollars in PNG to enhance women's leadership, to increase their incomes and reduce violence, to increase their access to services through Pacific Women.
The president of Business and Professional Women's Club, Ms. Susille Nelson Kongoy, who welcomed the House, said International Women's Day is the most significant day for women across the world as it reflects on the roles and status of women in society and raises awareness on how much has been achieved or is still to be achieved through equality.
We recognise that whilst education is important for everyone, it is especially significant for girls and women. This is true not only because education is an entry point to other opportunities, but also because the educational achievements of women can have ripple effects within the family and across generations.
The club boasts over 55 professional businesswomen members who are committed to empowering PNG women through education. The International Women's Day Breakfast is the club's major annual fundraiser. In 2014, the club raised over 180,000 kina, which was used to assist 264 scholarships for women and girls. Those who attended the refined event include numerous dedicated business house sponsors and prominent PNG women figures, including Deputy High Commissioner for PNG, Margaret Adamson, First Lady Linda Babao O'Neill, Justice Catherine Devani, and sporting greats Dika Toa, Karo Kelai, and Julian Maliaki. Vanessa Knight, National EMTV News.
The United States, through its embassy, has prioritized the advancement of the status of women and girls as a significant part of its partnerships with the people of PNG, the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. Next week, the U.S. Embassy will be co-hosting the second PNG National Women's Forum with the Ministry for Religion, Youth and Community Development. Since the first National Women's Forum, the Embassy has been working with like-minded allies on an ambitious change agenda to advance women's economic empowerment.
In too many societies and too many homes, women and girls are still undervalued and denied opportunities to participate and contribute economically, politically, and socially. U.S. Embassy Political Officer Jacob Surface said since the first forum, working groups have been formed to work on priority areas.
We're really excited as we prepare for the 2015 Papua New Guinea Women's Forum. Last year we came up with 14 recommendations from our 7 panels, and we worked for 6 months after the forum with a range of women's organizations in Port Moresby and around the country to narrow those recommendations down to 4 priority action areas.
According to the U.S. Embassy, when the voices of women and girls are left unheard and when their health and safety is left unprotected, when they are denied an education, their potential is wasted. This year's forum theme is Stronger Together, Partnering for Equality for Women. It is because it has been recognized that there are many fragmented women's groups in PNG working in isolation.
Myself, the ambassador, a range of embassy officers have had the privilege of traveling to all the provinces in Papua New Guinea, and what we hear time and again is that there's good groups doing excellent work, but they're separated, they're not talking to each other, and there's not a lot of progress and partnership. So we wanted to highlight that theme this year and get women's groups, international voices, government, civil society, and the private sector talking about how we can all partner together to make progress.
There will be a range of topics discussed during the forum, and guest speaker will be the Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Forum, Dame Meg Taylor.
When women are decision makers in the public service or in the economic and community-based decision making, we know that the outcomes and the results are highly beneficial to everyone involved. And I think Dame Meg Taylor has been an excellent example of women's leadership, not only at the political level at the UN, where she has an incredible reputation still for representing Pacific Islands, but also in the region with the Pacific Islands Forum. She's done a great job there already, and we want to highlight that women can be true change makers, decision makers, and leadership.
There will be NGO expos and business expos where the women can market their services and goods and also create networks. Last year's expo brought over 400 women from around the country, the region, and the world. At this year's forum, the host aims to use the gathering to open up opportunities for further partnerships and growth. Delhi Bagu, National, EMTV News.
Dr. Thomas Webster, Director of the National Research Institute, will officially resign from this post in May this year. Dr. Charles Yalla, another long-serving NRI staff, has been appointed as his successor. Dr. Webster has served the Institute for 10 years. He spoke to journalists about his time at the Institute, also NRI's achievements over the last decade, and some of the pressing issues that PNG needs to address as the country celebrates its 40th independence anniversary.
A very proud Dr. Webster spoke about his time at the helm of this policy think tank. In terms of his career, this is the longest he has spent with any one organization. He says the success of the institution during his time as director is because of an innovative and talented team.
This is the collective effort, the NRI that you see now.
Top of the list of his achievements is bringing the NRI to a state where there are systems and processes in place that ensures that there is accountability and efficiency within the organization. He said they have worked very hard to establish an institution whose work is relevant to the development needs of the country. Work that he is particularly proud of is the NRI's involvement into the lands discussion since 2005 when they hosted the National Land Summit in Lae.
The land reform, once people start to register their land and then lease it to developers, will provide a steady revenue to landowners across the country. And if we do that, then it will be, creation of a broad-based economic growth with people having more money in their pockets than just waiting on government to deliver for others. It's something that we are now beginning to work. We're working on a few pilot provinces with landowners, trying to apply the new laws and so on. But people, once they see how it works, they will catch on.
He believes the housing issue in the country, especially in towns and cities, and the traffic congestion around the city are all linked to lack of proper management and corruption in issuing land titles.
Poor planning, and the problem is lands department. They don't contribute to proper planning of our cities and towns. And it's one of the weaknesses that I'm now fed up with the government. We tell them to do some of these things, they don't do it properly. They try to say, we will go and create this farm out here, Durand Farm, and give the titles to this. What good will those titles be? The titles will be as good as if the lands department sorts out this record. If they don't sort out the lands department, those titles will be useless titles. There's no bankability.
While there are a lot of things that he is proud of, he says challenges remain.
The limited number of researchers that we are able to get, even though we have a whole lot of development issues out there that we need to address and carry out research and contribute to debate and discussions that will lead to more informed decision making, we've been unable to recruit a lot of good academics to do the researches, basically because the pool is small. And in fact, it's probably non-existent.
The government has been funding the NRI's work. However, over the years, there has been very little increase in government support to the organization. While their work has been getting attention overseas, there seems to be little appreciation of it in the country.
Oftentimes, some of our policy reports and so on are not taken on board, and as Papua New Guineans, we are concerned. We are going to be part of that suffering that results from not having good policies. It is our responsibility also to come out and criticize government, and sometimes we've done that.
His plans for the future involved returning to a topic of interest which brought him to NRI, which he hopes to continue focusing on.
The three challenges in achieving universal basic education, which is one of the MDG goals, is increasing or bringing more children into school, making sure that everyone is in school. One of the other big problem about universal basic education is that the kids leave school before they complete the final grade. And the third challenge is improving the quality of learning. And a lot of that, the responsibility could be at the community level, at the school level, at the district level. So one of the work that I want to maybe continue after is really looking at that in a bit more informative way and constructive way and say, look, how could we operationalize it and how could we make more informed decisions at the local level?
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Ahead in the news, more concerns raised on the Lae City Authority, also a valuation rollout for NCD, and BSP confident of smooth flow despite the downturn in the economy. Stay tuned. Good to have you back with the news. Lae City Lord Mayor Koim Trilulei says the provision of municipal services listed in the draft bill for the proposed Lae City Authority is a duplication of functions of the existing Lae City Council. Mr. Lae told the Marabe Tutumang yesterday that the draft bill itself didn't reflect what was said by Prime Minister Peter O'Neill during their meeting. He also warned that if the bill is not reviewed and amended, he is ready to take it to the National and Supreme Courts. NTV's Silva Sagawi has this report from Lae.
A frustrated Mr. Lae told the Morobe Tutumang yesterday that the roles and functions of the proposed Lae City Authority listed in the draft bill were all duplication of functions of the Lae urban local level government. In Tutumang's motion, they say it is unconstitutional for an act of parliament to remove functions of a legitimate body established under the organic law on provincial and local level governments. The Lord Mayor says the Lae City Council generates revenues from the provision of municipal services. The duplication of functions like rubbish collection by the City Authority will affect the Lae City Council.
Prime Minister by money will come straight all the way along Parliament, when national government by giving this authority by working municipal services. But in time, you look at the draft bill, you look at all the power and functions for the council, all by kissing. Now, the council are making one work now.
Mr. Lae says the millions of kina for the establishment of the proposed city authority could have been used to beef up provision of municipal service to the people of Lae. In the last 3 decades, service deliveries have declined due to funding constraints and the ongoing tussle among the administration of the urban council.
Give me the power of money, people of the city council, and people are working. So people are working good, change the administration.
In one of his reports presented to the Tutumang yesterday, Bulolo MP Sam Basil wants a committee to be set up to investigate the Lae City Council. This is to identify the problems that are hindering the provision of effective municipal services to the people of Lae City.
Put that kind of money and the authority back into the current existing urban authority of Lae City and give us 6 months or 12 months and see if we perform.
The Lae City mayor has also threatened to pursue the matter in court if no amendments are made to the draft bill. Sylvester Gawi, National MTV News, Lae.
Clan leaders from Butibam and Kamkumung in Lae have clarified their stand on why they are supporting the proposed Lae City Authority. The leaders met with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill last Thursday and agreed to be given representation in the board of the new Lae City Authority. Mr. O'Neill also assured them that they will have their own Ahi Assembly to source direct funding from the national government.
In a small media briefing yesterday morning, clan leaders from Butibam and Kamkumung villages say the Lae City Authority is a step forward for the future development of Lae City.
The leaders say the city authority will give an opportunity for them to be part of the decision-making for services beneficial for the people of Lae and Morobe province. They have met with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and have discussed the benefits of the city authority and how the government will assist them in setting up the IE assembly for the children.
As landowner blo butibam na kamkumu, mi plus sana blo desplating blo government, national government long Lae City by come up commission. Mi plus support him despla tok na mi plus by behind him despla government na behind him governor blo mi plus one him tok and min tok long him.
For the last 50 years, the city's traditional landowners claim that they were left out of consultations and discussions for the developments taking place in Lae. Much of Lae City's law and order problems were blamed on the landowners for selling the land to outsiders. But what successive governments have failed to see is the engagement of local leaders in the various provincial boards.
Me play one bell on this one, and me ask him long. Okay, so the city commission come up, then ahi LG must go, me must at ahi assembly. We all got a council of chiefs, automatically become the power inside of this chief. There'll be no other outsiders contesting the seat for ahi, there will be only ahi people.
The Bukam clan leaders say they stand in solidarity with Morobe provincial government, Lae MP and the to-be chairperson of the Lae City Authority, Lujaya Koza, and the national government to see the establishment of the Lae City Authority. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Lae.
After 20 years, the Valuer General Office presented NCDC with a valuation roll update for the next 5 years. The roll update is an exercise done by the local authority to collect land rates. This is then used to provide services such as water and sanitation.
Valuation roll update is done on a 5-year interval. However, with funding constraints, it was never reviewed. It is a requirement under the Valuation Act 1967 for an authority like NCDC to review land tax tariffs and come up with new affordable land tax for landowners or people who have a land title. The current land tax tariffs are 3.5% for commercial and 2.3% for residential properties of the improved capital value. However, with the current rating, they account a total of unimproved value of 681 million kina.
Then we revalue every land within the NCDC area, where each parcel of land is placed a value for the rate authorities like NCDC to collect the rates and taxes, and for the lands department to collect annual grant rent for title holders.
NCD has a total of 25,000 registered land plots, only 19,000 are active. This made them to combine their records with the Lands Department.
Such as NCDC can use revenue collected from those rounds and in turn provide important services to our people. And the city is growing at a very fast pace, and therefore it's important that we keep the rolls updated so that revenues that are due to the city are collected on a timely basis and services are delivered.
NCDC has been using the valuation rollout back in 1992 for their land rate purposes. In the past, they offset the loss of low values with higher tariffs. Now, with the current market value of NCD properties, Governor Powers Pakop assured NCD landowners that the increase is estimated to be significant. Meanwhile, Pakop said that since NCDC does not get the PSIP funds, their main revenue comes from goods and services tax and the land rate tariffs.
Up to now, we collected nearly 8 million from the land rates with this 2% or 3% on the value of the properties that we have. But not all the properties too are within the valuation, zone. A lot of people live in the settlements, about 40% of our population, and also in the villages. They expect us to provide services too. They want water, they want electricity, they want their rubbish collected. But guess what? They don't pay the land rates, but they still want services.
NCDC will be reviewing its current tax tariffs against the new valuation roll to ensure that land tax is affordable for everyone. It will be captured in the 2015 amendments and will be effective in 2016. A similar exercise will also be carried out in Morobe province. Vasina Tayama, National EMTV News.
Local farmers benefiting through the Women in Mining Small Grant Scheme have spoken highly about the benefits derived from the scheme. From agricultural produce sellers through to outboard motor operators, they've testified how their lives have been improved through these services. The Small Grant Support Program is implemented by the Mineral Resources Authority with funding from the World Bank.
The impact of Women in Mining Small Grants Project scheme has been felt by people benefiting directly or indirectly in the scheme. Jessica Punawa is a fresh produce seller from Ono village in the Magairi area. She travels more than an hour to the provincial capital of Madang to sell her vegetables. But with the PMV brought through the scheme, it cuts down traveling costs and she sells her produce on time.
Ready market belum plastak waiti kariko noga karni belum bagarabi market. Now I must say me talk thank you lo disla karni bla emare kim lo me plan.
For cocoa farmer Kerry Kuku, who also comes from a Magairi area, he feels the same way as now he says he can sell more cocoa bags in town.
Now I'm alright. Mama group blalo. Kisim sari maria.
The benefits extend to those who rely on sea transport. William Kupat is a skipper on one of the outboard motors purchased by Coastal Pipeline Women's Association of Ramu Project. He says at times he has transported sick passengers to Modilon Hospital in Madang. The Small Grants Project is an initiative by the government through Mineral Resources Authority to make funding available through World Bank to provide women in mining impact areas with income earning opportunities. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
Despite a current slowdown in the overall economy of Papua New Guinea, it is business as usual for Bank South Pacific. According to BSP Deputy CEO Johnson Kalo, measures have already been put in place to ensure the current downturn in the economy does not impact negatively on the bank's operations. His comments follow the bank's release of full-year results for 2014.
Members of the media, together with investors, were given an insight into the full-year results for 2014 by BSP. The bank had embarked on a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring more efficient services for its customers. Among the notable achievements, the implementation of the Kina Automated Transfer System, or CATS.
Changes as well. The government's introduction of the CATS system has required some quite intense operational work in the branches to accommodate the changing processes. We've had our continual vigilance against fraud and forgeries and that sort of thing. Our people continue to work to safeguard the assets of customers and depositors and stakeholders.
A decision by the Bank of Papua New Guinea to introduce a trading ban on foreign exchange also had an effect on the performance of BSP in 2014. However, this also provided an opportunity for BSP to focus on other products and services aimed at improving the banking experience. Among these, a push for customers to bank smarter. This resulted in a consolidated profit after tax of 507.3 million kina, an increase of 16.1% from 2013 results.
Banking education, assisting the central bank with financial inclusion initiatives and the like. So I think business goes on, and that's a blip that we can accept for this year, but BSP remains set on its path of growth.
Despite the current downturn in the economy, BSP is hopeful it can continue to produce results for its shareholders and, more importantly, for its customers.
It will be difficult to achieve the same level of growth as we have been able to achieve in 2014. So the first sort of stage for us in 2015 is to make sure that we don't go backwards, that we at least maintain our 2014 performance and then adapt to the conditions during the year as they evolve. But look, the PNG market, it is business as usual. As we highlighted in our earlier commentary, there are prospects for some more of those natural resource projects that are being worked on, and hopefully as those come online, we hope to be in the thick of it.
Meribatulo, National EMTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The Kina closed 10 points lower at $0.3775 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, your Kina was fetching $0.371 $0.4723 Australian dollars, €0.3316 and 44.12 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa and copper all closed the day lower, while palm oil, crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 39 points higher, the ASX closed at 6 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 5 points lower. You're watching National EMTV News tonight. Among stories coming up after the break, powering up rural rigor with solar lights and addressing illiteracy in the country. Stay tuned for all the details. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. A rural village in Rigor District, Central Province, has seen the lights for the first time. Daroa Komano Village received solar panels from the Office of Climate Change and Development. It is part of OCCD's solar farm project to power up rural communities using clean energy.
At nightfall, the final installments to these solar lights were wired, a new beginning for a village that has never seen light before.
People are happy about that, and we really thank the climate change who are really, putting up this project here.
These street lights, powered using solar energy, is part of a solar farm project carried out by the Office of Climate Change and Development. Executive Director of OCCD, Varigini Badira, would like to see the project rolled out to all rural communities in the country. He encouraged provincial governments to partner with OCCD to implement these projects. With climate change impacts becoming more prevalent, Mr. Badira wants a collective approach to clean renewable energy. Officers from OCCD will work closely with the villagers to maintain the solar farm.
The upkeeping of the batteries, 2, the leads are all connected, and 3, the panels. You don't need to buy fuel, you don't need to do anything beyond that. So the maintenance lies with the communities who will be trained.
The villagers hope that solar lights will also be installed in their homes. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Awareness for the PNG National Identity Project in Southern Highlands Province is progressing. Yalibu Pangia District is heading the awareness drive with church leaders and schools targeted at key sectors. The National Statistics Office say people are realizing the need to register in the hope of benefiting from the project.
With the launch of the first registry office for the NID project in Southern Highlands late last month, the push for greater awareness in the province is extending. The PNG NID publicity team commenced conducting awareness in Yalibu Pangia district in various schools. The district education advisor, Warrior Paita, says schools including nearby villages have shown keen interest to know more about the project. Yalibu Pangia MP and Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the NID project will be linked to all government services for people to benefit and should not be taken lightly.
Time be like housing, I only ask him low ID. Time be like vote, only ask him low ID. So no can think of some just like one something by stop nothing noga. And by affecting life blow you me okata.
Meanwhile, the help from churches in the district is also adding value to the awareness drive. But questions of biblical prophecy 666 and failing to register still surrounds the project. Governor William Powys says more than 3/4 of the total population is unknown, giving hard time for policy makers.
510,000 yeah, you don't know who is who. And through man die long and you know got record. Man and Papa Mama Karim long and you know got record. How by you gonna deliver him? Service long. Number you know seven long and name you know seven long and people you know seven long and now you guess now you deliver him service.
30 mobile registration teams will extend the awareness and registration drive to the entire districts in Southern Highlands in the coming weeks. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Children illiteracy has become a concern for Papua New Guinea. The local charity, Bukbilong Pikinini, has been part of the campaign to end the high illiteracy rates in the country. Yesterday marked a milestone for the organization when they launched 2 storybooks written by their students.
This might seem like a small event, but it is a significant one. The event marks the launching of 2 storybooks authored by children as young as 4 years old who go to school at Bukbilong Pikinini at Tatana village. But the event only gives a tiny glimpse into a much bigger problem, the high illiteracy rate in Papua New Guinea. For Vagi Kariko, a ad librarian, every day she spent teaching children the basics of reading and comprehension is always rewarding.
We teach them through polyphonic sounds. So each day we are given a sound. And we go through the sound with the actions, and we treat a day, wait for a day.
According to Papua New Guinea's government statistics, a contributing factor towards PNG's slow national growth is the low literacy rate of about 1%, compared with the population growth of about 3%. Illiteracy had become a growing concern.
This is our most fundamental issue, is to try to address literacy, because if you want a strong country, a strong economy, everyone needs to contribute.
And Sophie Ammon, the founder of Bukbilong Pikinini, began establishing children libraries all over the country about 7 years ago, after realizing that a significant population of children can't read or write.
So if more than half the population is illiterate, obviously that half cannot look after themselves because they don't know how to follow health advice. You know, they may not have employment opportunities because they are illiterate. So
she believes educating children at a younger age will help address Papua New Guinea's high illiteracy rate. Not only that, but to a large extent, it will affect decision-making in resourceful areas of the country. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News.
And still on the same story, Theatre Stationery is the gold sponsor of the Bukbilong Pikinini. The leading stationery shop will provide school materials to Bukbilong Pikinini libraries all over the country. The 2 organizations partnered with the aim of bringing education to disadvantaged children all over the country.
Being a sponsor for Bukbilong Pikinini was not a hard choice to make, and it's a really very well run organisation. The money goes to the right places. The commitment and dedication from the team behind, especially Anne Sophie, has made a great effort, and we feel that it's made a big impact on the disadvantaged children in Papua New Guinea. So we're very, very proud to be sponsors of the team.
Intelligence leaked by American IT specialist and whistleblower Edward Snowden has revealed that New Zealand has been spying electronically on its Pacific Island neighbours as well as Indonesia since 2009. It was revealed that since 2009, New Zealand's government's Communications Security Bureau intercepted and collated intelligence across the Asia-Pacific. EMTV's Alana Lae reports.
The data collected is then, reportedly, provided to the United States National Security Agency. The controversial X-Keyscore tool, which gathers the widest-reaching collection of online data, inclusive of emails, social media activity, and browsing history, was allegedly used to collect intelligence. Pacific leaders from Samoa and Tonga have expressed disbelief and disappointment over the surveillance.
Quite ridiculous that Samoa is being spied on.
New Zealand has breached the trust that has been established between the 2 countries.
News of the surveillance broke on Wednesday through a collaboration between the New Zealand Herald and The Intercept, an online news publication that also publishes documents released by Edward Snowden. The data was allegedly shared with members of the Five Eyes network, which include the US, Australia, Britain and Canada, as part of a global surveillance operation, according to the documents. Although Papua New Guinea was not included in the list of Pacific countries under surveillance, a 2013 PowerPoint released by Snowden in 2013 detailed the extensive number of X-Keyscore sites in full operation around the globe. Alana Lae, EMTV World News.
And National EMTV News continues with Trukai Sports. That's coming up next, and all the details after these short messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Preparations for the 100 Days Oil Search Pacific Games Relay is on target and provinces are gearing up for the event. The relay will see the baton travel to 22 provinces with a welcome message for all Papua New Guineans to join in the Games. It will run for 100 days starting in West Sepik on March 29 and will travel through other regions before it arrives in the nation's capital on June 29. Relay team manager Tamsin Wardley confirmed that provincial routes are still being created and runners are being selected by the provincial teams. The relay will ensure the baton is seen and touched by as many people as possible in its 100 days of travel and offers an opportunity for each province to showcase people, culture and natural beauty. The 2015 Pacific Games has provided employment opportunities for Papua New Guineans, especially women. The Games Organising Committee advocates women empowerment and equality in the workforce. Chief Executive Officer of the Games Organising Committee, Peter Stewart, says 53% of employees being contracted to work for the Games are women. EMTV's Dion Kombeng files this report.
The Games Organising Committee is a strong supporter of equal participation in the workforce, especially with the delivery of the 2015 Pacific Games, and this Sunday marks International Women's Day. The Games Organising Committee staff is comprised of 53% of female employees. The board includes 5 women, Narai Banam, Esther Igo, Mary Johns, Tamsin Wardley, and is headed by Emma YY, an engineer by profession and a former PNG basketball representative, and is also involved in numerous sports administration roles. Opportunities are available where more local women can be a part of the Port Moresby Pacific Games, and the Games Organising Committee encourages women to participate and be a part of the delivery of the Games. Games Organising Committee CEO Peter Stewart said they're a strong supporter of PNG women and believe in equal participation and encourage professional, experienced and skilled women participation at all levels of the organisation to deliver the Games. Sports is an event that does not discriminate gender, and the GOC is pleased to be promoting it. Games in Hindsight has provided employment opportunities for thousands of Papua New Guineans. Minister for Sport Justin Chicheko confirmed the construction phase alone has seen a vast employment of 20,000 Papua New Guineans. Dion Kombeng, National EMTV Sports.
Veitu Diro is a well-known and respected woman within the sporting fraternity. Having represented Papua New Guinea in basketball and netball at several Pacific Games, she has become a sporting figure and mentor for aspiring athletes. She has reached the top of her game, helped others to do the same under her guidance, and continues to do so. MTV's Lorraine Genia with this report.
Veitu Diro is 67, a mother, grandmother, a wife, a teacher, a mentor, but coaching stands above the rest. Her career began in the 60s when Papua New Guinea was still under colonial administration. She went to a mission school, graduated as a teacher, and went on to become school inspector, but maintained her interest in sports.
1971 in Tahiti, I was the captain of the Papua New Guinea team, and we won the gold medal in Tahiti by 17 points. Women's basketball team. And after that, I was very involved with netball, trying to promote netball in the country. I can't stop. I'm saying I still can coach, I can still mentor people.
Her sporting career blossomed in those early days, and she went on to represent the country in the biggest gathering of Pacific Island countries, the South Pacific Games. She was also playing netball and established a netball team in 1966, which remains active in the country's premier netball competition.
It's the biggest club in Port Moresby competition for many, many years. And we have won the championships 39 times. And we are planning to make sure we get it this year to make it 40th, and that is when I will retire.
Her determination for results outweighs the expenses she's incurred personally, and many have passed through the door of Veitudira's home. Many her age would rather retire, but Veitu still feels she has a lot more to contribute to sports and the development of athletes, more so now as Port Moresby plays host to the 2015 Pacific Games. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. The annual New Kick Gala Day program will run tomorrow at the Murray Barracks Oval in Port Moresby. AFL PNG has organised this program with more schools taking part this year in the program. MTV's Elijah Lavette has more on this report.
The program is for children between the ages of 5 and 17. This will teach them basic skills like kicking, handballing, marking and bouncing. AFL PNG Southern Region Development Manager Cornelius Papau said the program aims at bringing more children to the sport of AFL.
Rugby union, rugby league, netball, cricket. We just wanted to get as much kids that we wanted, especially the participation numbers, to get involved in AFL and try to grow the game into schools, into communities, into the cities where kids can get involved in our game.
The program has plans to expand into various AFL provinces, starting with New Ireland Province.
We have plans. By April we will have the conference for AFL PNG staff in Port Moresby, and the similar plan that Port Moresby has here, we will extend it out to Lae, Hagen, West New Britain and KVN, which will be leaving for KVN in 2 weeks' time to do a coaching course. So we might launch the same similar New Kick Gala Day in KVN.
With an astounding response from schools rolling out the New Kick program in 2014, AFL PNG is looking to increase the numbers this year. The Gala Day program tomorrow will officially kick off the 2015 junior competition in Port Moresby. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports ends on that note. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region. Dara to look forward to showers and rain. In Moresby, showers as well. In the Momasa region, showers in Lae City and rain periods in Wau and Madang. In the New Guinea Islands, rain and thunderstorms expected in Kokopo and Rabaul. And lastly, in the Highlands region, all centres to look forward to rain then fog. Before we go, quickly recapping our top stories again tonight. Lae landowners evict settlers to build affordable homes. Also, election petition case against NCD Governor to go to trial. And outgoing Director of National Research Institute speaks on PNG's pressing issues. Well, that's been National EMTV News tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks for your company. You have a safe weekend. Good night.